Breaking news! We have a breaking news! We have got a breaking situation on our hand. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody calm down. We have a breaking news situation on our hand. Is that true? Are you sure? Okay. Daniel Gafford is on his way to the Dallas Mavericks, ladies and gentlemen, for Richaun Holmes and draft compensation. I repeat. Daniel Gafford on his way to the Dallas Mavericks in return for Richaun Holmes and draft compensation. What is the draft compensation? They did it, ladies and gentlemen. They went out and did it. The Dallas Mavericks traded for Daniel Gafford at the trade deadline yesterday. This video is a little bit more different than you're used to. I just don't have the time to sit down and record a video and then transfer it over and edit it. So you are missing out on my beautiful face. Let me tell you, it looks really beautiful today. But we're going to talk about Daniel Gafford. Welcome to the fam, Daniel Gafford. You think like Seth Curry and Grant Williams read this and they think, yeah, what a great fam, huh? Abandoned us on the side of the road like we're some orphans and pawn us off to the Charlotte Hornets. What a great family to be a part of. Ra, welcome to please. Oh my God. I have such a problem with Ra. I hate it. Ra. I digress. Fortunately for the Mavericks, they really didn't have to give up that much. The Mavs get Daniel Gafford. The Wizards get Richaun Holmes in a 2024 first-round pick from Mavs via the Thunder. Now, if you're wondering, if you're just kind of out of the loop and wondering, wait, what the hell did the Mavericks get that pick? They traded a 2028 pick swap to the Thunder in exchange for a 2024 pick from the Thunder that they then traded to the Wizards. So from the Thunder point of view, they're saying, okay, let's just bank on Luka being gone in 2028 and maybe we get a really valuable pick. In exchange, we'll give up a 2024 first, a draft that's not very good, and a pick that's not going to be very good. And the Mavericks trade that pick to the Wizards and Richaun Holmes. And in exchange, they get Daniel Gafford. So really not a bad price to pay for a starting level player. I think Daniel Gafford will come off the bench for the Mavericks, and I'll get into why I think that later, because I've seen some people think that he might start. I really highly doubt that. But they get a starting level player for what is essentially a pick swap down the road and a player who's never going to play for you in Richaun Holmes. I think this is great value for the Mavs. So let's get into why I think this is such a good pickup for the Mavericks, starting with his defense, because that is the big selling point for Mr. Daniel Gafford. Shout out to our man, NBA University, here with this stat. He tweeted this today as of the time I'm recording this. So this is as up to the date as you can possibly want. Most layups and dunks blocked per 100 possessions. As you can see, Mr. Daniel Gafford comes in 6th, 2.05 layups and dunks blocked per 100 possessions. His rim protection is legitimate, ladies and gentlemen. He is a legitimate rim protector. On-off stats can tell you a whole lot about a player, especially when it comes to defense. This is opponent's shot accuracy whenever Daniel Gafford is on the floor versus when he's off. As you can tell throughout his entire career, opponents have shot much worse at the rim whenever Daniel Gafford is on the floor versus when he is off. I mean, by a huge margin, 5 percentage points when it comes to shooting percentage is a giant chunk. I mean, that's an elite 40%. Just look at it this way. That's an elite 40% three-point shooter versus a league average 35% three-point shooter. I mean, maybe that's a stupid way of looking at it. But, I mean, these are some huge swings here for Mr. Daniel Gafford. 92nd percentile this season when it comes to his on-off splits, when it comes to opponent rim accuracy whenever he is on the court. He's forcing some misses. Tell him to bring out the rim protectors. Tell him to bring out the shot blockers. As you can see, the Mavericks now have two pretty legitimate rim contesters, pretty legitimate shot blocking bigs in Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. Opponents shoot 6.8 percentage points worse at the rim against Daniel Gafford than expected. Field goal percentage, rim point saved, 1.11. That's in the 96th percentile. Rim shots contested, 96th percentile. Rim contest, 95th percentile. Blocks, 83rd percentile. I'm kind of thinking he's him. Shout out to our man Coops for this video. This is Daniel Gafford just putting Mark Williams in a torture rack for 30 seconds. I mean, it's just a sight to behold. Get that shot out of here. That's one thing that Daniel Gafford does really well. He's just times his jumps really well and gets vertical, right? Doesn't come over. This is a great defensive sequence right here for Daniel Gafford. We're kind of coming in a little bit late, but he's helping on Gordon Hayward, and he's able to rotate down to his man in the paint. Get that shot out of here, Mark Williams. Mark Williams, I do like you, but sorry. Woo Pig Suey. Daniel Gafford. And watch this. This is my favorite part. Yeah! 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 I do think he's a better rim protector than Derek Lively right now. That's not crazy to say. Derek Lively's a 19-year-old rookie, right? There's still some times where Derek Lively feels like he could learn he could do a little bit better when it comes to just going straight up and being vertical. And maybe having a guy like Daniel Gafford around will help him with that, help in his development. That's another way to look at this. But a great defensive sequence right there from the new Dallas Mavericks center, Daniel Gafford. And again, just one more time. Yeah! Yeah! Look at Tyus Jones. He's like, holy fuck, people actually play defense on this team? Vinny is like, we've never done that. How about this block right here on Kevin Durant? Again, his timing is really, really good. In transition, getting back, just timing that up perfectly. I mean, it's a good job by Kyle Kuzma getting back and slowing Kevin Durant down long enough for Gafford to get back into the play and swat that shit out of here. I like this whole sequence from Gafford. Just ready and help. Ready to help on this Devin Booker drive. Booker gets the ball stripped. Gafford does a great job contesting the shot. Unfortunately, Nurkic gets the offensive rebound and is able to put it back up and in because Gafford had to help out on Booker. But I still like that. That's a good job by Gafford. Good awareness and a tough contest on Devin Booker, who, you know, is hard to contest on those little mid-range jump shots. The elevation he gets. That's a very difficult player to alter his shot. Gafford is a drop big in pick and rolls, okay? You're probably not going to ask him to do much else when it comes to defending screens. That's what kind of separates him and Lively. What separates Lively from him, I guess I should say, is Lively, I think, is a little bit more versatile on the perimeter when it comes to defending ball screens. But Gafford does have some moments. Here he is dropping on this screen, on this very high screen from Nurkic. Gafford does a great job containing Booker, forces Booker to pick up his dribble, and the Wizards do a pretty good job defensively here. And Gafford, this whole possession, you know, that's a tough shot. If Devin Booker makes that, you just tip your cap. That's a great shot by a great player, but a good job by Gafford on that screen, on that high screen. This is going to be pretty big for the Mavericks. So Derek Lively's going to be a great player. He already is a great defender. He's still he got that scrawny 19-year-old body. You guys know. I don't know because I was fat as fuck when I was 19 years old. Okay, but Gafford, bit of a beefy boy. Nurkic is one of the more physical players in the entire NBA. Gafford just kind of body him up. You're not getting anything on me. Nothing easy. We're going to a game 7, baby. Again, Gafford's going to be a drop big for you in pick and rolls, but he does a really good job in it. He does a really, really good job in it. Good job right here, staying in front of Donovan Mitchell and getting back on Jared Allen and poking the ball away. I mean, that's as good of a job as you could possibly ask for right there. Jared Allen's been on an absolute tear lately. You can make a serious, legitimate argument for him making the All-Star game, him being a legit All-Star snub. Great job right here by Daniel Gafford closing that shit off. Jared Allen has to pick up his dribble, pass out, and it's a steal. And these are the type of plays where you could see Gafford sort of having a big impact on this team, because there are moments where Lively just gets bullied a little bit, and that's to be expected. He's a 19-year-old rookie center. That's a tough thing to be in the NBA. And Daniel Gafford, you know, I think he's a little bit better suited for moments like these than D-Live, even though I do think D-Live is ultimately a more versatile player than Gafford. Look at the recovery here. Kind of a weird play for Daniel Gafford. There he's again dropping. Little floater from Garland. I think that was a lob attempt, but again, look at just the timing on this block by Gafford. It looks like he's out of this play. Like entirely. He's kind of ball watching, just kind of standing there. It looks like this is going to be an easy basket. But just that explosiveness right there and the perfect timing to block that shot. Jared Allen wants a foul. No, there's no foul, buddy. You just got blocked. Great job being ready to help on this drive for Mr. Daniel Gafford. Delon Wright gets beat. Donovan Mitchell. It's all right. He's a great player. Boom! Gafford, get that shot out of here. Shot out of a cannon. Again, that timing, that anticipation, the athleticism. Just great job. I mean, he is a fun shot blocker to watch because his blocks are oftentimes violent, and I like that. So the other Mavericks defenders are going to have to be ready in these drop coverages because Gafford, he's pretty good at it, right? Gafford is a pretty good drop defender. He does a good job right here getting back on Jared Allen. Good rotation out by Kispert. Good job by Shamet moving his feet and staying in front. Tip out rebound by Daniel Gafford. So again, Mavericks rotations are going to have to be on point, and they've done a good job at times this season because Lively plays in the drop quite a bit as well. So they've done a good job at it so far this season. They're going to have to continue it because it feels like you're probably going to get close to 48 minutes of this type of pick and roll defense. Yeah! Look at the wingspan. Yeah! Nice block here by Gafford. Mobley, and then boom, gets hit in the face. So this is how you know he's a Dallas Maverick, folks. The Dallas Mavericks have suffered, I think, like 4 broken noses in the past 2 weeks. Gafford is ready to go. This was the last game he played as a member of the Washington Wizards, got hit in the face. We should have known right then and there. I mean, if anyone was paying attention to this game, we should have known right then and there. Oh, Daniel Gafford's going to be, he's going to be a Maverick. Oh, okay. Yep, there it is. How about this effort right here by Daniel Gafford, staying in front of a James Harden drive. Not an easy thing to do. They actually had this credited as a block. This is a great job. Good job moving his hips. Kawhi Leonard. Goaltending! I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Great job, though. Again, violent blocks. Violent blocks, folks. That's what we want to see. Violent. Again, he does a really good job in these drops of recovering. being ready to help and block that shot right there by Miles Turner. That's a really good job. It's a tough spot to be in, too, as a big. All right, so we've established that Daniel Gafford's going to help out the Mavericks defensively, especially on the interior. But what else is Daniel Gafford bringing to the table? Well, he is legitimately one of the better screeners and screen and roll threats in the entire NBA, and I think there's a reason why. You look at some of these on-off numbers for him, and they look a little bit wonky, especially offensively. There's a reason why these two numbers right here are where they're at, and why these 2 years specifically, Daniel Gafford has been a huge positive on the offensive end versus other seasons where he's been a negative. And that's because in 2020/2021 with the Washington Wizards, he was playing alongside Russell Westbrook, which is, I think, far and away the best point guard that he's ever played with. And this year with the Wizards, 2023/2024, he was playing with Tyus Jones, who is more than capable as a pick-and-roll ball handler and as a floor general in general. A lot of generals. What's that company? The General Insurance Store. Make sure you guys go there. Use code SLIGHTLY for 50% off your insurance. But all these other years, who the fuck was even his point guard? I actually don't know. Who was playing point guard for the Wizards last year? Can anyone name him off the top of their head? Wasn't it Monte Morris? Again, one of the better screeners in the entire NBA so far this season. 6.2 screen assists per 75 possessions. That puts him in the 97th percentile. He's also in the 97th percentile when it comes to total roll man impact. Okay, and I just ran up some stairs. Let me catch my breath. If you're an apartment complex and you have more than 3 floors, there needs to be an elevator. No two ways around it. You're doing a disservice to your residents. Finishing numbers for Daniel Gafford so far this season, 75% at the rim, as you can see here. Just an elite finisher. Granted, he finishes above the rim a lot of easy finishes, as you can see. His finishing talent grade is relatively low, and that's due in large part to the fact that his rim shot creation is not the best. Again, he's catching lobs. He's in the short roll. His unassisted rim field goal attempts, those are all putback attempts. So don't expect him to create for himself or anything like that, but just when it comes to finishing, you feel pretty good when he's going up for it. And I mean, just look at some of the efficiency numbers here for Daniel Gafford. 70% true shooting, 1.24 points per possession. That's in the 98th percentile. Look at all these hundreds. Granted, there's probably like 1 or 2 possessions, like pick and roll ball handler. Don't expect too many possessions where he's doing that. I am interested to see why he's in the 7th percentile as a pick and roll man. That's a little surprising to me. 2nd percentile on putbacks. That's not too uncommon for bigs, believe it or not, just because they're getting so many of those opportunities, especially great offensive rebounders, which Daniel Gafford is. Here's some of the rebounding numbers for Daniel Gafford. An elite offensive rebounder in every single sense of the word. 2.86 offensive rebounds per game, 97th percentile. He's great on the offensive glass, great at tipping the ball out to teammates, great at tipping the ball to himself. And again, the putback numbers for him are pretty inspiring. The defensive rebounding stuff, it's not the best. Like you'd want it to be better, especially for somebody who's so good on the offensive glass to be better defensively when it comes to defensive rebounding. As we go back to some of his on-off numbers, you can see that the team rebounds better defensively when he's off of the floor, which is not really what you want to see. But I'm wondering what the reasoning is behind that. Because again, he's so good on the offensive glass. I wonder if he can lock in a little more. Just a little bit more locked in. And here's what really gets me excited. Here are the numbers from the 2020-2021 season. Gafford got traded to the Wizards mid-season, only played 304 minutes with Russell Westbrook, so not a lot to go off of. But the numbers when those two are on the floor together, truthfully, inspiring and exciting if you are a Dallas Mavericks fan, because this is the really only elite pick-and-roll ball handler that Daniel Gafford has played alongside of, and this duo was electric together. As you can tell, when they were on the floor together, they had a plus 11 net rating. This was not a very good team. I mean, they made the playoffs, but they weren't like a great team. They weren't setting the world on fire. And they were a plus 11 when Russell Westbrook and Daniel Gafford were on the floor together with a 122 offensive rating. The numbers with Russell Westbrook on the floor tank when Gafford is off. And same thing when Gafford's on the floor and Russ is off. So that's pretty exciting when you consider that Daniel Gafford will now be playing alongside one of the greatest pick-and-roll ball handlers in the history of the sport in Luka Doncic, an explosive athlete who plays with some fire. Plays with some energy. Head of steam, you're not going to stop him. Absorb the contact, finish, and flex. Yeah! Tough little finish right here by Gaff. I feel comfortable enough to call him Gaff. I feel like we're on that level now. Put his head down, finish over a shot blocker. How about that touch? Little floater. Over Jared Allen, one of the better shot blockers in the league. Good energy right here on the offensive glass by Gafford. Chases down this miss. Keeps it alive. Does miss the putback, but again, keeps that alive and eventually gets fouled going for the rebound. But I just like the energy. His numbers in transition are absolutely elite. The only thing is he doesn't really do it very often. But when he gets out in the open floor, oh! throwing it down. He's an athletic guy. Hammering that thing. That's one of the things that I really appreciate about Nico Harrison and this Mavericks regime is they've made a concerted effort to get more athletic, and they have done that. And now this is a team that used to have like maybe 1 or 2 athletes on the whole entire roster. There's now quite a bit of athletes. Like Dwight Powell used to be the most athletic guy on this roster. Now he's like 7th. So we're really making strides. Nice job in the pick and roll right here. Again, a great screener. Cavs defense just completely falls asleep. No rotations. Jared Allen slow to recover. And that's just an easy dunk for Daniel Gafford. Not something I ever expect him to do. In fact, something I really hope he rarely ever does. But popping the mid-range right here. How about this? Okay. You just know when a guy is not a shooter. Just look at the opposing bench whenever the shot goes in. Head down, head up. The player's looking around like, who the fuck just shot that? Again, here's where my excitement really starts to creep in right here. His stuff from playing alongside Russell Westbrook. And he's 25 years old. It's not like this was, 4 years ago and he's 34 now. He's still a young player. So he should still be able to do all of this. And you would think he's actually better now than he was then. But again, he just hasn't played with a pick and roll maestro like this. Is that not a... Hold on a second. You might have a point here, Danny Green. That looked like that was an offensive basket interference more than I look at it. But you know what? I'm not going to say anything. My God, this was such a dark time in our history. I forgot all about this. I'm not even going to talk over this clip. Just listen to the fucking commentary. Remember, this was 2021. We're still doing the COVID thing. There's no crowd. The commentators aren't in attendance. They're at some studio somewhere, some basement somewhere. Just listen to this.
As Tatum hits the 3. Westbrook sets it up beautifully.
How did we survive this
Tatum
era?
hits.
Even Gafford just chilling in the dunker spot while Luka, attacks the rim or draws in defenders. Going to get a lot of lobs that way. This was Russell Westbrook's 24th assist of this game, by the way. You kind of got to remind yourself how insane Russ was at the tail end of his time in Washington. Catching and finishing in traffic. Good screen right there. Good find by Russ. Good touch around the rim. I mean, can't we all imagine Gafford catching passes like these from Luka? I just really like his ability to set good, strong screens, smart rolls, good hands, and then just finishing at the rim with good touch over a 7-footer, to be fair, and Kevin Durant. Here's one of the negatives when it comes to Daniel Gafford, and this is a pretty big negative, especially with this Dallas Mavericks team, and I'm interested to see how it all plays out, if he can improve in this area playing with this squad. Now, when you play with the Mavs and you're a center, right, and you're setting high screens for Luka, Lively does this incredibly well, which is shocking because he's a 19-year-old center. He's not supposed to do these things well. That is playmaking in the short roll. Luka's going to attract so many attention on these ball screens. He's going to get blitzed on these ball screens. In fact, he gets blitzed on those ball screens way more than anybody else. I mean, he's first in the league by a wide margin when it comes to getting blitzed on ball screens and getting trapped. Kyrie even gets blitzed on these quite a bit. So you're going to have to play make in the short roll as the center, as the roll man, as the middle guy, right? Unfortunately, in my time watching Gafford, I don't think he's very good at this, right? I think he has sort of a one-track mind when it comes to rolling, and that is finishing at the rim. Anytime he has to make a quick decision, I don't feel like it's good. It's a bad pass right here. It's a bad read. It's a great job by Dean Wade. Great job getting over and good rotations by the Cavs. And, maybe now that I'm watching that back, maybe Tyus Jones could have made himself available at a better spot, but still, it worries me a little bit. And this might be a little bit unfair to ask. This is such quick, split-second decision-making that it's really hard to nitpick and get onto a guy for it. But, again, it's just the reality is you're going to have a lot of these opportunities when you're playing center for the Dallas Mavericks. And this right here, Mobley comes over to help. You have this kick out right here. Jordan Poole, a good enough three-point shooter. I know he's been dog shit this year, but this pass has to be made, right? We're making that pass immediately. And this is what Derek Lively does so incredibly well. He catches the pass, boom, it's out to the corner. We have a wide open 3 in the corner. That going up with it and missing. I mean, that was just kind of a bad miss. You expect Gafford to make that more often than not. But again, just look at Jordan Poole sitting there waiting. That's a pass that you would like to see made. And again, it worries me a tiny bit. That's why I think Lively will play over Gafford and will probably get more minutes than Gafford, just because he's so much better in that short roll, just playmaking and passing out of it than Gafford is. Either way, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this all plays out. I think the Mavericks had a good trade deadline, and I think Gafford just fits like a glove on this team. If he's going to play next to an incredible playmaking point guard, a great pick and roll maestro, and he's just going to feast. I can't wait to see it. Backing up Derek Lively. Nico Harrison, you did a great job, bud. You did a great job. We're so proud of you.